Hello, everyone. Welcome along to the Rangers Rabble. This is the women's show tonight. I am joined by Wolf. Wolf, how are we?
Not to timestamp it, but yes, good evening, Brian.
Mm,
Car, how are we?
Good. Looking forward to a nice weekend of football.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So we are here to speak about or react to the Rangers women versus Dundee United and Rangers women versus Motherwell games. And I believe all three of you guys, well, exception of Laura, who's not available tonight, were in attendance at Dundee United. Um, this got off to the most bizarre start card, didn't it? Because let's be honest, the what happened at the very start within the first minute or so certainly wasn't in the sort of script, was it?
No, but it was a hell of a goal. She'll never do
It
it
was,
again if
yes,
she tries. Do you know what I mean? She just hit so sweetly and it just went in perfectly. But these freak goals can happen. But so early on, it kind of was a bit, oh, is this going to be how it's going to be? But we very quickly made sure that wasn't going to be the case. But she's a loanee from Celtic, so I'm sure she enjoyed that goal and relished the moment. But the rest of the game wasn't to be for them.
no, and that's very true, Wolf. I mean, they went behind early, but it was a good reaction, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we'd only just sort of settled down and she hit out of nothing. She hit that shot, and I mean, like Carl says, she'll never, probably never do that again in her career. So that's a highlight of her career already. You know what I mean? And it was a hell of a hit. I mean, I seem to remember somebody that's not too far from me just now saying to me, "Was that the first minute?" Because Carol couldn't quite believe that was the first minute. It was just ridiculous, and it really was. It was crazy. You know what I mean? It was. But yeah, we reacted in the only way you can. Just get straight back into it. You know what I mean? I mean, we're all over them like a cheap suit, to be perfectly honest, Brian.
Absolutely, yeah. Of course, the team lineup that day was Essen in goal with Rachel McLaughlin, Kathy Hill, and Nick Dockett at the back. We had Jodie McCleary, Tess Middock, Kirsty McLean, Laura Berry, Macaulay, Kirsty Howitt, and Rio Hardy up front. So yes, as I say, the, it didn't quite go to the plan, but after 5 minutes, Wolf, Kirsty Howitt put it right.
Yeah, she did. I mean, as you just said, Brian, if you're going to lose a goal early, the best thing to do is get straight back into it. And Kirsty was. We said a couple of weeks ago that Kirsty just needed a goal,
Hmm.
to start the goal flowing, and we've been proved right. I mean, she got one, and then she got another one, and then we'll get on to it, but she got another one as well on Wednesday. So it's fine. I mean, the goals are starting to flow a bit. I mean, as Joe Potter said in our post match, we could have been an awful lot more goals. You know what I mean? We did miss an awful lot of chances. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you can't argue with the final score the way it was at Dundee. You
No,
know, and to score eight and still miss a bundle of chances. You know what I mean? Is we're doing something right. Because let's be honest, they didn't really look like scoring after the free goal they got in the first minute, which is the way it should be against teams like that in this league.
absolutely. And we spoke. Well, we've all spoke about this car. Kirsty Howitt. As clinical a finish as you'll get, but at times she snatches at things. But I'm starting to think now she's in the groove and she's finding her shooting boots.
Yeah, she's definitely a confidence player. And I think when she got that first one, she was like, "Oh, well, that's how I do it," and she just
Yeah.
kept going. And she definitely has been more assisting and helping the other striker that she's working alongside. But I think now she's starting to realise, oh, I can do that as well, and got back into it a bit. So it's good, and it can only be good for the team that she just continues in that trajectory and stays fit, no issues that way. That should probably be our top scorer at the end of the season, closely followed by probably Rio Hardy, but we'll see.
Absolutely. And Carve, Rio Hardy put his head just before the 20th minute mark. She's always worth, you know, every game she plays. You almost think she's going to score every game, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, other than Lizzie Arnott, when she steps up for a penalty, you're not afraid that she's going to miss it. She's just
No.
so clinical with it. And can really score from all over the pitch, but with a dead ball, she seems pretty good at nailing them every time. So really happy with that. I didn't actually think it was a penalty at the time because I couldn't see what had happened, and it wasn't until I think it was Wilf and Demi said it was a handball, and I was like, all right, okay, and I watched the highlights and it was a handball, so we'll take it. I was going to take it anyway, but I was happy it was a legitimate and nobody can complain about it.
Wolf, not like you shouting for a penalty.
It was a penalty all day. I mean, looking straight at it. I mean, good call by the ref. A lot of refs wouldn't have given that. And obviously, with the women's game being what it is, there's no VAR. So if you hadn't given it, you hadn't given it. And I think a lot of refs might have just went, because the ball did get fired that from fairly close in at a bit of a lick, but it was a penalty all day long for me. And as Carl says, if you've got a penalty, once Rio Hardy's puts ball on the spot, you know it's going in. And I hope that's not the kiss of death for Sunday, but I would say it goes in. No, it's going to.
Absolutely. And I suppose, was it a surprise car that 6-7 minutes later Rio was on the score sheet again?
Well, not really, because prior to the game, Alan and Laura that was with, one of them said Kirsty Howitt's going to get a hat-trick, and the other said Rio's going to get a hat-trick. I didn't suggest anybody was going to get a hat-trick, and they both got it right. So maybe we'll need to start asking them who's getting a hat-trick each week, and it'll happen. But, I mean, a fantastic goal, Well, no, it was... Yeah, she was next. No, it was Tess next.
Oh, sorry, I've missed Tess. Sorry, that's...
Rio cuts it back to Tess, and she just smashes it high above the keeper and in with no... Like a free kick, essentially, from Tess. She just smashes it home.
Yeah, I mean, Wolf, Tess has obviously had her problems with injury. She's came back into the team. And it's difficult. I mean, although Tess was an absolute starter before her injury, with a lot of the new signings, it's difficult for somebody like Tess to come back in when the team are doing really well to sort of establish herself again. Is that fair?
Yeah, well, what doesn't help Tess is she's versatile and she's good everywhere she plays. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, she's been deployed in the back four when we played the back four and we short her bodies. She's been played almost as a sweeper. She's played in the midfield. So, because she can play all over, it's difficult for her to get a start, particularly just coming back from injury. And as you see, the team are doing quite well. But I mean, the encouraging thing is that every time she plays, she's not afraid to get forward and have a shot. And to be fair, there's none of them shy at having a shot. I mean, that's what I'm really encouraged by. Sometimes the shots are high, wide, and not very handsome, but they're all having a pop, and more often than not, they're hitting the target.
And that's true, yeah. I suppose, and then just after, Kirsty got the goal just before half time, Car. And as you've both said, it was more than deserved. That lead, wasn't it?
I mean, that Kirsty Howitt goal, the second one that she scored, was just superb. The cutback, it's not even a cutback, kind of back heel, almost slide back from Kirsty McLean to perfectly place the ball for her to just curl it in was a personal highlight for me. Like one of the most outstanding bits of play that I've seen from Kirsty McLean, which is saying a lot considering the goals that she scores and the amount she does in the midfield. But that was just incredible. The way I thought she was going to hit it, but she didn't. She just kind of slides it back to her, and then Kirsty smashes in. It was just one of the most beautiful goals I've seen. But they were all just one-upping each other at that point. After Tess's goal, they all just went, I want to do that. And then they did. They all just kept firing absolutely crazy shots into the goal.
Brian, I actually said to Demi that when Kirsty McLean rolled the ball back and Kirsty Howitt hit it, I actually turned to Demi and said, did you actually see that? Did she actually do that? You know what I mean? Because it's the last thing you'd expect to do. And it was fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. It was a great bit of improvisation and a hell of a finish as well.
And I suppose, half time, that was pretty comfortable. Was it a surprise, Wolf, that it took to near 80 minutes to get the next goal?
Well, yes, it was, but I mean, we took the foot off. We still played some nice stuff, passed it about a bit, but I mean, you don't want to take any risks. It's still quite early in the season. There's a lot of players that have, that have had injuries. Some of them fairly serious. Like Tess just came back from a fairly serious one. Kathy Hill still running about, not seeing an awful lot. because of the mask that she's got to wear one more game against Montrose on Sunday.
Right.
So there's no point taking any risks. You know what I mean? The game's done. It's 5-1. The game's done. And what didn't help in the second half, the heavens absolutely opened halfway through the second half, and it was biblical. It really was absolutely horrific. I mean, it was one of them you think, you know, I'm fairly sure some of the players on both sides felt like saying to the ref, look, the game's done, can we just call it and just go home? Because it was ridiculous. And the water was sitting on the pitch. I mean, within 5 minutes of the rain starting early on second half, the ball was actually sticking on the artificial pitch.
Yeah.
You know, so it was that heavy. So that didn't help matters either.
No, and I mean, Carl, I mean, the difference from grass to AstroTurf is obviously quite different. And I suppose when you play in AstroTurf, for me, it skids quicker off the pitch, doesn't it? You really have no time to react. If it's even just a foot away from you, you've really got to be on the ball when an AstroTurf is soaking wet, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they're kind of used to playing on Astro, but that pitch is completely different to Broadwood or Hamilton or any of the other Astro pitches. It looked fairly high quality, but it bounces kind of weird. It's not quite grass and, you know, like the hybrid pitch. It's just a weird pitch all round. But as soon as that rain started, everybody was soaking. Everybody just looked like they didn't want to be there anymore. And she started to look at making subs at that point, and I think a lot of them were kind of just done in a bit after like having 3 games, quite short space of time. But the pitch was just kind of weird, wasn't it? It's just one of those pitches. But we should be used to that. They're professionals, so they should be able to play wherever. And they did. They continued then to keep scoring, and it worked out eventually. But there was a period there where it got a little bit scrappy, and we're just kind of passing it about.
And Wolf, Little Winnie, 86th minute, 20 yards out, left foot. Unbelievable.
That was the highlight for me for the game. I mean, Carl's highlight was her back heel and Kirsty Howitt's finish. But for me, that was just, I mean, the way she turned on the ball, she just keeps getting better and better. I mean, we'll obviously move on to the Motherwell game shortly and another goal that she got. But it's just for the age of her, the ability she's got, as we keep saying, we'll be very, very lucky to hold on to her because she really is different class. She's just phenomenal. And when you think she can't get any better, she gets better. I mean, like you say, the back heel for Kirsty Howitt's goal in the first half, and then her own finish in the second half, and just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, Carl, you're kind of running out of superlatives for this young lassie, and I mean, every time you think, yeah, she's done that, she does something else.
I know, and she's so humble about it as well. It's almost like she doesn't want to do that because then she gets attention and she doesn't want bothered. She just wants to do what she does and then get on with it. But it was on her weak foot as well. It was on her non-dominant foot. She just turns in space and just absolutely smashes it. And it's just incredible what she can do at such a young age. She could go and play for Barcelona, and wouldn't look at a place in that team. So, we've got to be really lucky to keep on her, but she's been really smart about it, given another year in her contract so that more teams can then watch her thrive and then potentially go and get a bigger move. But I will note we have just missed Kirsty Howitt's hat-trick goal, which was a phenomenal free kick that we haven't discussed before Kirsty McLean's goal.
I was just about to say, I've just rewound.
Brian, you're having a shocker, Brian.
Yeah,
I'm just taking off your lead. You're having an absolute shocker. I didn't want to throw you under the bus telling you you'd missed that, but
no, you don't have to throw me
under
the bus.
We need to discuss it. It's a hell of a goal. We need to discuss it.
It was a great goal.
Well, yes. Kirsty Howitt, just before that, sorry. See, when you watch it, Wolf, you think she's a decent distance out, so you think, okay, shouldn't be too much trouble get it. The height that it goes and the dip on it is quite incredible, isn't it?
Well, we weren't sure who was actually going to take it because there's 2 or 3 of them over it, and then we thought, well, Kirsty's going to go for us, and she just, as we said earlier, it's just we said that she needed 1 goal to get the confidence going, and she got the 1 goal the other week, and that's her now got a hat-trick against Dundee United, and it was a phenomenal goal. I mean, each goal's better than the one before it. You know what I mean? I mean, as we say, the finish at the end of the first half was a hell of a finish. But that was just from a dead ball, just ridiculous. It was as much as their freak goal in the first minute. You could have had 3 keepers in there, wouldn't say you could have had 3 or 4 keepers in there, and none of them are stopping that. That was a great free kick.
I mean, Carr, if James Tavernier took that free kick, you'd be all just. I mean, I'm just looking at it again. It's virtually on the 18-yard line, right? And when the ball is, at the peak of its sort of height, it's a good 3 feet above the bar, and it still dips down. I mean, great technique.
I mean, I thought it was going over, to be honest. See, when she hit it and it looked so high, I was like, no chance. That's going over, like, no bother. Because they all kept hitting them before that, and they were all going high and hitting the post and off the crossbar. But she just hits it, and the dip on it is just incredible. And that's what she can do, and that's why we expect so much of her, because we know that's what she's capable of. So when she's having a bit of a dip in form and not scoring, and everybody's getting a bit frustrated, I'm trying to remind myself that's what she can do, and that's why she's still here. So we just need her to keep doing that because it's just incredible. But as you say, if Tab did that or if Messi did that, they wouldn't shut up about it for weeks. But that'll get lost, in the it's women's football, nobody cares kind of thing. But that's potentially goal of the month, goal of the season contender up there with all the other cracking goals from this game that probably will be in the goal of the month competition. It would just be all from that game, I think, because it's just so many good goals.
Absolutely. And then, of course, the last goal, Wolf. Actually, a game when you look at the highlights, the goalie kicks out. It's controlled in midfield. It's then fed in, and it's fed through to Laura Berry then, who gets fouled in the box. And I still laugh at her reaction because I think she thought she was going to get a chance to, get a shot at goal. She was fouled in the box, and the reaction of Laura Berry, she was livid. She got fouled because she thought she had a chance to get a goal. And that's what you want. I mean, 7-1 up, and, the strikers clean through and goal gets wiped out, and they're livid because they can't get a shot on goal.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly what you need. I mean, it was a terrible challenge, to be honest.
Yeah.
An absolutely shocking challenge. I mean, there was a Dundee United fan sitting just along from us who just just ridiculous, contesting everything. I mean, the free kick we just talked about that was scored, that Kirsty Howard scored from, which was a free kick all day long. He said he shouted out, "That's a ridiculous decision," and I couldn't help myself. And I mean, to make a challenge like that, there is a ridiculous decision. You know what I mean? And he didn't say anything back to me because he couldn't, because he's just stupid. But I mean, even he didn't complain about that challenge. You know what I mean? Even he didn't say anything, shout anything with that challenge. My only thing at the time was I wasn't convinced it was inside the box from where I was sitting. Haven't seen it back. It was a penalty all day. But at the time, I wasn't sure it was inside the box. So fair play to the officials again for getting that one right. And yeah, we're okay. As much as Laura Berry's pissed off, she's not getting a shot at goal. As we said about the earlier penalty, Rio Hardy's got the ball in her hands. It's 8-1.
Yeah, absolutely. So then it was up the road with 3 points, Carr, and we moved on to a home fixture versus Motherwell.
Sorry, Brian, before we move off the game at Dundee United, I think it would be remiss of us not to mention the improvements that they've made to Gussie Park, or should I say Foundation Park as they call it now.
All right.
Because I don't know if you noticed that, Carl, but above the door it said Foundation Park. I noticed it on the ticket.
No, I don't know.
Because that stand, the little stand they've got in there, which makes a hell of a difference to your viewing experience. It's a bit like Spartans, but it's only 3 rows. It's only 3 rows of seats backwards. That was paid for by the Dundee United Foundation, I believe. That's why it's called Foundation Park now, and it's a hell of a. They've made a vast improvement to it. So fair play to them. I know they don't just use it for women; they use it for their 18s and their youth team and all that as well. So but it's benefiting their women's team because it is a better viewing experience, and that might get more people along. Because previously you were basically just standing on the side of the pitch, and if it's busy, you'll see anything because there's people in front of you. You know what I mean? Not that I think particularly it's going to be busy, but
no,
I just thought it worth mentioning that they've actually made improvements to it, which is going forward for the good of the game's got to be an advantage.
Yeah, that's an absolutely fair point. Absolutely. So yeah, 3 points against Dundee United, and we moved on to Motherwell home, Car. again, same back four. Vic Esson in goal, Rachel McLaughlin, Cathy Hill, Nick Docherty is the captain. We then had Laura Berry, Jodie McCleary, Tess Middack, Kirsty McLean, and Kayla Jardine getting a start with Rio Hardy and Kirsty Howitt. I mean, a lot of faith in these youngsters. You know, we keep saying it every week. Kayla Jardine is just another one coming off the conveyor belt, isn't she?
No, she deserves it because she should have had a couple of goals in the Dundee United game. She absolutely smashed the post with an incredible shot that I thought was going in, and then another one that just went high. So she absolutely deserved it. She was just phenomenal, and she's shown that we probably should keep her and not send her to Motherwell.
Yeah.
Motherwell is her she was going to. We probably just should keep her because we're struggling so much. Not so much now because players are starting to come back now. And so maybe it'll be a bit of an issue with who's going to get played and she'll sit on the bench. But keep her until January. Send her on loan then if we don't need her because she's absolutely flying at the moment and she deserves it. And it shows why we're keeping her, not just selling her like a few of the youngsters that we did do because she is a really good player, so she deserves it. I don't know how much she did in the Motherwell game because the highlights don't show much of her or how much she contributed, but I'd argue that she probably had a pretty good game.
Yeah. And Wolf, it's the old saying, isn't it? Youth have got no fear. They just go into games. They're not caring who they're playing. They're not sort of interested in anything else apart from them doing their job, either that defending or attacking. And there's no fear with young kids, is there? They just go into games and just do what they have to do.
Yeah, the only thing with the younger players is that they're inconsistent.
Yeah,
you know? And that's got to be managed. And you've got to understand. I mean, I know that the coaching staff and all that they understand that. You know that's what young players are like. As supporters, we don't always feel like that. They were brilliant last week, rubbish this week. How can they get a game after the way they played? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
we know that they're going to be inconsistent. But I mean, we'll just look at Kirsty McLean. We've shown faith in Kirsty McLean, right? And she's getting better and better and better, right? The last few weeks, Mia McCauley's been playing. I know Kayla Jardine started for her, but Mia came on for her at half time on Wednesday, and. You know, so we've shown faith in her to start the game. You know, Mason Clark's come off the bench the last couple of games and had a serious amount of game time.
Yeah.
As we say, Kayla Jardine started the game on Wednesday. So it shows that Joe Potter's not scared to put the kids in. And because they know they're getting the chance, they're going to give it their all because they know there is a chance there. You know, I mean, there's the age-old thing that we used to always say, you know, if you're a young kid looking to sign at an academy, whether it's a boys' academy or a girls' academy, you don't go to Rangers or Celtic because you'll not get a chance. Well, we're showing that the girls will get a chance with us. You know, I mean, Brogan Hay came through the system at Rangers, and she's still here because she's got the talent. You know, and I mean, Kath Hill came through at Rangers. Okay, she left, but she's back again. You know, so they're showing that the pathway is there, and they've got to play with no fear because. It for me, it's good. It shows faith in the system. It shows faith in their teammates. It shows their teammates have got faith in them as well. You know that they're not scared to get involved in it because how often do you see a young player coming on at 6 or 7 up in a game, and they get 2 or 3 touches in 20 minutes because nobody will give them the ball. You know what I mean? I mean, noticed that. I mean, obviously I wasn't at the game on Wednesday, but I noticed on Sunday when Mason Clark came on. I mean, Mason's 16. Her mum was sitting behind us. Right, proud as punches she came on, big Rangers supporting family, and she's on the park 2 minutes, and she's screaming for the ball. You know, 16-year-old kid coming on when the game's done to get game time, not scared. So it shows that there is a good mentality within the whole team that the kids aren't afraid to shout at the more experienced players. Well, give me the ball, you know, give me a shot. You know, that's got to be good for the future of the club, surely.
I mean, Cara, Wolf says everything. That's absolutely going well for certainly the young girls and the younger squads for Rangers. You know, they come into the first team and they're asked to do a job as it could be a defender, it could be a central midfielder, it could be a wide player or a striker, but they do the job, and I wouldn't say it's almost like they're not out of place, but you don't sort of worry when they come on the pitch, do you?
No, I'm just buzzing when they come on because me and Laura went to a lot of the 18s and 16s games last season, and we've seen them, especially like Mason, Becca Taylor, who's now out on loan at Hamilton, Laura Berry, Mia McCauley, how good they are and how good they can be. So we were just buzzing when they got their chance. And the fact they're being played so much is so exciting to us, just purely because we know what they're capable of. And they've shown that already. Fair enough, Laura Berry's not scored that many. I don't think she scored since pre-season, but she's making chances and she's making good runs. Same with Mia, she scored, a handful. She's doing really well. Mason's coming on and doing the same thing. We have one of the best academies in this country. I mean, Erin Cuthbert came through us. I know she's not here anymore, but had we been at this point when she was coming through, then maybe she would have stayed and gone, stayed with us, because we weren't professional at that point. We couldn't offer her what down south could. Whereas now we're at a point that we can offer them these things, professional contract, money, big games, Champions League potentially, all these kind of things. We couldn't do that before, so we're in such a good position now for the young. And I'm glad that we've got a manager in that's willing to use them and show them that pathway, because I think last season, other than Emma, Jodie and Kirsty, and even to a degree, he didn't really play Emma Watson until late on into the season, when really we should have been using her a lot more. We've now got a manager that's willing to use them. Fair enough, we don't have much choice at the moment, but I think she still would have used them because they offer us something different than, maybe the more experienced players that are going to get fatigued or whatever. They'll run for 90 minutes and not bother them because they're so young and fit.
Absolutely. And I suppose when the younger players will see players like Emma Watson, coming into the first team and then getting a move to it wasn't like a bid came in and Rangers accepted it and she moved to Man United, her contract expired. But the fact is that Emma's came into the team for a couple of seasons, played really well, got international recognition. She's then got the move to Man United. That can only whet the appetite of the youngsters, thinking, right, if she can do it, I can do it.
No, of course it is. I mean, it's all about they need to get given the chance, and as Carl says, Joe's given them the chance, so it's up to them to take it. I mean, I reeled off a lot of names. I forgot all about Jodie McCleary. I mean, Jodie's a fabulous talent. Again, we'll be probably lucky to hold on to her. That's the unfortunate position we're in, that the game's not particularly strong in Scotland, so it depends. Again, it's down to money. It's the age-old thing, isn't it? They'll get more money elsewhere, probably better opportunities elsewhere. But hopefully by the time any of these youngsters leave us, they've won a couple of titles, couple of cups, a few medals in their bags to take with them. So, it's the conveyor belt's looking quite good. The fact that we've got 16, 17-year-olds getting regular first team games, and we're not scared to play them. I mean, I'm just hoping that the latest addition to the squad in Libby Bance on loan from Brighton for a year, I'm just hoping that doesn't take out. I know you'll get to that. I'm just hoping that doesn't detract from the game time that some of the young midfield players are getting.
Possibly. And since Wolf touched on it, Carl mentioned it, Libby Barnes came in from Brighton on loan. Now, there is sort of talk and rumours that Tess is going to possibly take a back seat, as you would say, into the central defensive role to allow Libby Barnes to come into the squad. How do you see her fitting into the team?
I mean, I'm not going to lie and say that I knew who she is, because I'd never heard of her before. She had that scarf above her head. But I went and did a wee bit of digging. She came through the youth academy, 12 years old, has been there ever since. Played, I think it was like 30 games last season for them in the WSL, which, Brighton aren't a top team in the WSL. So, she won't be used to be going for titles and winning things and high scoring games. She's usually on the other end of that. So I think it'll be good for her confidence-wise. Don't really know where she plays. I don't know if she's a central midfielder or if she's out wide or...
I think her interview, she said she was a box-to-box midfielder.
Oh, right, okay. So potentially we are looking at moving Tess back then and slotting her in there if we need her, because I don't really know what's going on with Michelle Coulson. We brought her in and then we're playing Kathy all the time and she's getting maybe 45 minutes, 20 minutes at the end of games. So I don't know if she's not fully fit or Joe just doesn't favour her or whatever. But she's never really done anything wrong, which is the weird thing to me. It's not as if she's the one that's come on and we're losing goals because of her. We're losing goals because of everybody else, it seems like. So I don't really see what's going on there, to be honest. But we'll see what happens. Maybe that'll be the case that we need that because we didn't bring in another centre back, which I would have liked just for a bit of cover because, Lisa's not back till potentially New Year. And even if that is the case, she's going to need a lot of time to get back to where she was, get used to a back three. She's never played in a back three. So, Kathy gets injured again, we're kind of screwed. So maybe it's just looking at that. And then it also gives everyone else a bit of a break. Kirsty McLean can't play every game, every cup game, every league game forever. So we're going to need cover in there as well, with losing Chelsea for a wee while, hopefully not too long. And Brogan's still to come back. So we're kind of light. So I guess it makes sense. And Joel and Jay obviously know her to speak to her and bring her in. So I'm hoping that she'll be able to score her first professional goal, because she's not done that yet, at Rangers to help us win things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, Wolf, we'll go into the goals against Motherwell. Kirsty McLean opening the scoring, short corner, fed at the box, nice little turn, and a finish at the near post.
Yeah, another good finish with a left foot.
Yeah. You wouldn't think she's a
our,
right footer,
our standing leg, if you like, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, as we say, Kirsty's adding goals to her game, which can't be a bad thing.
No. But I mean, is it surprising that, it's long shots, it's, inside the box finishes. She's got a fair variety of finishes, doesn't she, Wolf?
Yeah, I mean, she's just very, very comfortable on the ball, and she'll always try and fashion a shot. If she gets the ball in and around the box, she's always looking. I mean, we were having a laugh at in Dundee about the amount of step overs that she does. And I think it was Carl. It was after she did the back heel. I think it was Carl that said after that she can do as many step overs as she wants. And we're right. It's that she's a character. That just shows the confidence in her. I mean, she's only 16, 17 years old, and she's got the confidence to do that against players who, with the greatest of respect to them, aren't on the same level as her. So there's a fair chance that they might just go right through her. And she's risking that every time she does a step over, and she just keeps doing it. And she'll always, when she's in and around the box, she'll always try and keep the ball alive. She'll either try and fashion a shot or she'll stick it out to a teammate that's in a good position. And as you said earlier, Brian, there's not enough superlatives to sum up what Indy's like. She's just different gravy.
Yeah, it totally is, and yeah, you really, you're just running out of words. Eventually, it's quite frightening to think a 17-year-old girl playing for Rangers, and you're running out of great adjectives for her. Calm, collected, cool. Just everything you would want in a central midfielder, and she's got it, and it's just brilliant. The second goal, Car, it's a funny build-up, this one. It breaks down, it comes back, and then it goes out to the wide, and then a cross in, and Rio Hardy with a header.
Yeah, it's watching the highlights, it kind of seems like it was that kind of game that there was, off the post and then coming back out and players trying to keep it alive kind of thing, and that one just worked perfectly, and she's just in the right place and heads at home, no issues, and she's making a habit of getting into those areas which we need, because I think last season we'd always be screaming, get to the back post, get to the front post, be in the box, and now we've always seems to got somebody that's willing to be there. And I think it helps having the two of them playing together, because then one can kind of drop a little bit deeper to help out while one kind of stays up top to do the hard bit, I suppose. But I mean, if she'd missed it, you'd be raging, so I'm just happy that she was able to get on the end of it and get it in, but she's just in the right place at the right time all the time, is real.
Yeah. Don't forget, Brian, to pick up on that. She had a goal chalked off in the first half.
Yeah.
As well, that came back off the keeper because she was offside, but at least she was there.
Yeah.
She was in the position to be offside, and it's just, as Carl says, right place at the right time.
And I think, Car, you said it, before she signed, after the first game you watched her play, you were like, this girl's a player. She's very clever. She knows where to be in the right place at the right time. She's a good finisher. You were very positive when you first seen her, weren't you?
Yeah, I think as well, Rachel Rowe, I was very excited by, and then the fact that she's got injured, it's allowed Rio to shine a bit more. She's been, either in the front two or playing as that number 10 in behind, and she's just getting in the right areas and taking the chances, which was an issue before. People just weren't taking the chances that were created, and she just seems to get onto the end of them all the time. She's not afraid to run. She'll get, up and down that park if she needs to and put a tackle in to win the ball back if somebody does lose it. So she's just all round a really good player. So if we can keep her fit and keep her firing in a good partnership with Kirsty Howitt, I think we'll be on to a winner there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then both the goal eventually came, the third, and it was a great through ball to Kirsty Howitt, who latched onto it and squared it. It seemed to take an age to get to a Rangers player, and Rachel McLaughlin controlled it into the box. And I was waiting for, when I was watching the highlights, I thought she was going to lash it in, but it was actually quite a accomplished finish.
Yeah, she just placed the pass to keep it. And I was amazed to realise I think that was Rachel's first league goal of the season, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Because she's not afraid to have a shot. She gets in a lot of good positions, and it was. I mean, as you say, I knew she'd scored it, and I watched the highlights earlier on, and I just expected her to lash it in, but she just placed it past the keeper, which is good because a lot of the shots they take they don't snatch at them, but they put the laces through them, and when you do that, it could end up anyway if you don't catch it right. But she just made sure it went in, and that just tied the game up. That was it, 3-0 job done.
Yeah, and I suppose, Car. What it'd be remiss of us to say that Motherwell weren't without their chances during this game. They skimmed the post, I'm sure, in the first half with a shot. Second half, I think Vic Esson made a good save, and a header just over the bar. It wasn't as though Motherwell were just sitting in this game. Motherwell were not. I wouldn't say they were prolific attacking, but at least there was a threat there, wasn't there?
Yeah, they're definitely trying more on goal than they have been in previous seasons. They've definitely improved. They brought in some, players. They've promoted, for lack of a better word, some of their academy girls. They seem to be improving, which is only good for the league. That every team seems to be improving in the league, but it's just a bit frustrating that we just keep losing goals, and it's never the same goal. It's never just, oh, that's the mistake that we're making. It's always something different, and Vic just gets caught out almost. The lassie just kind of hits a shot, and Vic's in the wrong place and can't get back to save it, and that's just. Sometimes these things happen, but it's just frustrating that we've become a team that seems to always let one in every game now. That just seems to be what we're doing, which is frustrating because we thought the issue was Jenna, and now it's obviously not Jenna because Vic's doing the same thing. So I don't really know what's going on, to be honest.
Yeah. Wolf, it would be nice to have a clean sheet, but it doesn't always happen, does it?
No, it would be nice, and we need to start keeping clean sheets. But if you're scoring 5, 6, and 7 goals, and you're letting 1 or 2 in, at the end of the day, it's all about points. At the moment, it might come to goal difference towards the end of the season as it did last year, but hopefully that's not the case. And as long as we keep outscoring teams, we're going to beat them, aren't we? So it would be nice, I say, to keep a few clean sheets. It must be really frustrating for the goalies because, as Carl says, they're losing all sorts of different goals. So you can't even say, well, it's because the centre half, or it's because whoever's on the right hand side letting them in, or it's a keeper. It's all different goals. You touched on the save that Jenna made in the second half. It was a sort of save. I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like it when she sort of knocked it up, and I'm not sure if it came back off the face of the bar. Then it just sort of fell down right in front of her. It's really it just seemed really, really strange.
Well, I was just watching it there. What happened was it either hit the bar or she saved it onto the bar. It popped up. It then bounced in front of her. What happened? It then spun towards her. So it nearly went in the goal, but thankfully she was in a position where she saved it.
It just seemed to fall straight down. It didn't go anywhere other than just straight down. Luckily it was right in front of her. It just very, very strange.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, she's paid to keep the ball out the net. As long as she does that, it doesn't really matter how she does it.
No, not at all. Not at all. And then, of course, Carr, the fourth goal to really put the icing on the cake. Kirsty Howitt again, right place, right time. Good finish, actually. I wouldn't say it was a half volley, but very awkward. It was an awkward looking finish, but a good finish at the same time.
It was a good team goal because it started deep with Kirsty McLean, kind of gives it to Megan, who then launches it over the top. It takes a deflection off their defender, and then it's kind of in. And Kirsty, I don't know what she does. I don't know if she just kind of like throws her leg out and then falls over, and then she hits it perfectly, and it just goes in. And they all count. They all count, and a good goal as any. But I was just happy for her to get it because it looked like it was going to be another nervy end to a game. Where fair enough, it was 3-1 at that point, but it could have been anything. Knowing us, we could have conceded another one. So I was very happy that she got that. But a great, Kirsten McLean again, instrumental in starting everything that happens. And then lovely to see Megan back. She was out with injury, so I don't know what it was, but she's back now and she's getting minutes. She nearly had a goal herself, a lovely free kick over the top, but comes off the post. So just nice to see everybody back and doing well. But a good goal, a weird finish, but a good goal.
Oh, to have a healthy squad, no injuries. Wow, that would be something. So obviously, Wolf, that was the window closed last night for the women. How do you assess the window in the sense that the players we've lost and the players that we've acquired?
Well, the players we've lost, we didn't lose them in the window. Their contracts ran out. They didn't resign them. So that's
the players that we've either.
Which is the nature of the game, I think, because it's all, as Car's pointed out previously, but Car and Laura both pointed out previously, that 1 year contract seems to be the sort of norm. 2 year contracts is very unusual. Although we've got one or two that did sign them. So that's how you lose players for nothing at the end of the season. It can't be good for the players either. That's 1 year contract because they've got no stability. They don't know, from season to season what they're going to be doing. So I'm not a great fan of continual 1 year contracts. That's a sort of Arsene Wenger, you're over 30, you're getting a 1 year contract kind of thing. Doesn't. But hopefully, as the game progresses, as the women's game gets more professional. I know we are professional, and there's other professional teams in the league. But as the league and the whole system gets a bit more professional, hopefully longer contracts will come in as there's more money in the game and stuff like that. Which a bit more stability for the teams, not just us, but for the teams and for the players. But yeah, the window on the whole, I think it's been okay. See, Rachel Rowe unfortunately got injured, so we've not really seen her. Michelle Coulson, as Carl said earlier, she getting some game time here and there, but she's not really featuring a lot, which is strange when we're really short of bodies at the back. Wonder why she's not getting so much game time. Especially with Kathy running about with a mask on to protect her broken nose that she got against Queen's Park. That's a bit odd. But yeah, on the whole, it seems to be okay. Yeah, we seem to have done okay in the window. We haven't gone mental. We could probably have done another body at the back, but then the body that we brought into the back we're not using. So I don't really know whether it would make any difference, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, you got to be happy as long as we can keep what we've got, the team that we've got fit, and obviously we've still got one or two to come back from long term. So. As Carl said there, great to see Megan Bell back. To use the old cliche, that's like a new signing.
Absolutely. And Carl, as Wolf says, it's difficult it's probably quite difficult for the management and Rangers with the women's team because obviously they can't offer the contracts they can for the men, as in length. It's frustrating for obviously the management of the Rangers women's team and the fans of the Rangers women's team, because obviously they have players who are obviously the likes of Emma Watson, the likes of Kirsty McLean, Jodie McLeary, these youngsters that we've got. We can't tie them, we can't offer them 3, 4, whatever year deals. And then, what happens with Emma Watson, her contract runs out and she just moves on, and it feels it's such a shame we can't offer them, longer deals.
Yeah, it is, but then we offer some players 2-year deals, and then we don't offer everyone that. But then it comes down to the player as well, because Brogan Hay initially was only offered a year contract, and she's been here 6 years later. Do you know what I mean? She's always takes an extension every year because I don't think she'll ever leave. And I think there's other players like that that'll probably do the same thing, but for some reason we just can't offer them really long contracts. But I think the thing with Emma is, I think she was offered a contract and she didn't want it. So you can't force them to stay. Do you know what I mean? Because Man United were after her last year, and she signed a professional contract with us. So she could have potentially left last year and then gone and joined Man United's academy and then gone and played with them. But she wanted to stay with us and get more experience. So, it's up to the players to do that. But Nick, Doc, Kathy, even the likes of Megan Bell, you offer them an extension every year, they're going to take it.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing that as long as they're doing their job and they're staying fit and they're winning games and winning trophies, then they'll probably keep getting offered it. But I think it helps in a way as well, because like last season we brought in a few players. I won't name them, but everybody knows who I'm talking about. That if we'd given them a 3-year deal, we'd still be stuck with them, and that's no use to anyone. So it can be helpful and it can be a hindrance. It just kind of depends how you view it. But there's not much money in the women's game, especially not in the Scottish women's game. While we've got more money than most of the teams in the league, we're nowhere near the likes of Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, even Championship of England. So we can't really offer the players as much as them. But the ones that want to be here and love the club, I think will stay forever, because what's better than winning things with the club that you love?
You see, that's the thing. That's the thing for me, right? That it would be great if we could offer the younger players longer contracts, because obviously we've got faith in them, and if they do go on, I mean we see it all the time that Kirsty McLean's will probably go somewhere because she'll get offered an awful lot of money to do what Emma Watson did and go down to England somewhere. Same with Jodie McCleary, Mia McCauley. They keep going the trajectory that they're on. So if we were in a position that we could offer these kids, for want of a better expression, 2 or 3 year contracts, so that after a couple of years they can move on, we can get some money. We can get some money for them to make, to make the women's team as self-sustainable as possible. Because, okay, the crowds are getting better, but they're still not great, right? And that will take an awful long time to get the crowds great. Because even when they're getting decent crowds, it's because they're giving tickets away to schools and they're pounding in, all that sort of stuff. Rome wasn't built in a day, as I say. It is going to take time. But if we could bring money in for some of these players, because there is a lot more money in the game in England. They've got a better TV deal. They get better crowds, all that sort of stuff. But it is difficult. I mean, how do you say to, for example, somebody like Megan Bell? You say, right, Megan, look, we're going to offer you a year, but see that 16-year-old kid standing behind you, she's getting a 3-year deal. I mean, that's not an easy circle to square.
No,
because if I'm in that situation, if I'm in Megan Bell's shoes, I'm like, why am I only good enough for a 1-year contract and this untested kid's getting 3 years? You know what I mean? So, I'm not singling Megan out, by the way. It's just the first name that came to mind, because you can't really use Kathy or Nick, because they're getting towards the twilight of their career, so you wouldn't be offering them longer contracts anyway. So, like the way I tactfully said that there. Because I know next dad will be watching, so I better tactfully say the twilight of her career, or I'll be getting it on Sunday in Montrose. But yeah, so it is. We need to try and address that problem, I think. But that'll, again, the professional game in Scotland is in its infancy, so hopefully that'll come. And as Carl says, hopefully the ones at Rangers means a lot too will stick around. But at the end of the day, money talks. And if the club you love and you're going to be winning things comes in with a decent contract, and another club in a different country comes in with a ridiculously decent contract, for the good of your career, you're going to have to go.
Yeah. And I suppose it's difficult when you get players like Emma Watson and Kirsty McLean coming along. As you say, Wolf, it would be nice if they were tied down for longer contracts. So at least if somebody wanted them, then we could get money and then recircle that back into the women's team and, give better contracts to the players. But as you say, Rome wasn't built in a day. It will take time. We're getting there, I think. It's going to take a little bit longer than we all possibly want, but we're getting there. So before the international break, Carl, we've got Montrose ladies away. I think it's safe to say this will be a win. It's just a case of how many, isn't it? With all due respect.
I mean, if we do not win that game, I will quit watching the women's team because that would be ridiculous. I'm not like even entertaining that, but it should. I mean, it should be as close to double figures as possible, if not exceeding that. Especially the form that Kirsty's on, Rio's on. We've got potentially Rachel Rowe back because she's just been called up for the Wales squad and was in the training video today. So potentially she could be back. So that's another body in to help us. Even starting Mason, giving her a chance, Laura Berry, giving them, more minutes to go and score some goals. I think most of our team could probably score in that game on Sunday, and you wouldn't argue against it. It should be a fairly easy goal. I'm not convinced we won't lose a goal just because of the way we've been playing, but probably only be one if any at all. But it should be a fairly easy game. No disrespect to them. But Montrose have already done better than Glasgow women did last year because they won a game on Wednesday, their first win. So, they're not bottom of the league anymore. So, doing a bit better than other teams that have come up and then gone straight back down. So fair play to them.
Great point, Wolf, isn't it? They've already done better than their team last season. But as Carr says, if Rangers don't win this game, she will quit watching the Rangers women's team.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, it's got to show them through a little bit of respect, But I mean, if Rangers don't win and win convincingly, I'll be getting a lit pitchfork, and I'll be marching on the training centre wanting Joe Potter's head.
I'll be with you. The Sharks will be out.
The Sharks will be out. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And saying that, Wolf, on you go.
It should hopefully be a convincing win. As Carl says, we can get game time for some of the younger players, and give the more experienced players a rest because it's three games in a week, and I know it's international break coming up, but it's 3 games in a week. That's an awful lot. That's a lot of football.
Yeah, it is. And saying that, Wolf, I want a score prediction and I want a first goal scorer.
Well, I don't want to disrespect Montrose too much, but I think Carl's double figure shout might be right. So I'll go for a 10-0 win to Rangers because we don't concede goals, although we probably will because there's something wrong at the back. And first goal scorer will be first goal scorer? Me and Macaulay.
Carr?
Well, we do like a predictor thing with the supporters group. Every week you have to guess the scores, you get points for it, whatever. I said 10 this week, so I will stick with 10. 10-0. I didn't actually predict that we'd lose a goal, but now that I'm saying that, we probably will, just to go for it. But I mean, it'll probably be Rio or Kirsty, but then it depends who she starts, so I don't actually know. But I'll say Rio, just because of the form that she's on and she's flying at the moment.
Well, I'm going to go 11-0, and I'm going to go with Kirsty Howitt. She's red hot. Had 2 hat-tricks, so yeah, I'm going to go.
Well, I think one of the 2 years will be wrong because I can't see them both starting. But you never know.
They start together. It's 2 up top. It's Kirsty and Rio.
Yeah,
true.
Sorry, Kirsty and Laura and Rio went behind, or one.
I don't know. She might mix it up a bit, but I just don't see the 2 of them starting. But we'll wait and see. I've been wrong before.
Get the goals in quick and then take the troops off.
Yeah, put Mason on. She can get her hat trick.
Correct.
I actually think Mason will start on Sunday. I really do.
Yeah, she deserves it. She's a classy player, not scared to get up and down that wing. So
Kayla will start. Kayla Jordan. You think?
We'll wait and see.
I mean, potentially. But Brogan is, she's back training, but she won't be back till after the international break. Which is great that that she's finally at a place where she's able to come back after. Obviously, she didn't get called up for the Scotland squad, but that's just purely because of her injury. But the other half of our squad did get called up, so it's good to plenty of them away.
I mean, speaking of injuries, Cara, I mean, we haven't been blessed with injury-free for a long time. How good a job has the team done in the sense that they're winning games? All right, they drew against Glasgow City, but they've been winning games and largely with, let's be honest, a lot of youngsters in a lot of teenagers in the team. and they've been winning games, winning them, some of them quite comfortably. And that's without, as I say, the likes of Lizzie Arnott, Brogan, Chelsea. There's a lot of players that we've missed, or big important players. But the team's done well, haven't they? They've filled in extremely well.
Yeah, I think it's a credit to Jo as well, because I think her management technique of putting an arm around them and saying, listen, I know you can go and do this. Just go and have some fun, go and do it. I'll guide you along the way from the sideline. I'll shout in your ear for 90 minutes so that you know what you're meant to be doing. But it's an absolute credit to the academy as well. Amy McDonald, that was here before, that was head of the Girls' Academy and was largely in charge of, curriculum, for lack of a better word, training regime, that kind of thing. So I think it's just credit to all of them for being able to take in what Jo's come in very quickly and told them what to do, and they're all able to then take that on board and say, I know what I'm doing, and they're all singing from the same hymn sheet and are able to get on with it. But it also kind of worries me, why have we got so many injuries so quickly into the season? Is her training too hard and they're not fully fit to keep up with it, and it's maybe flared up some past issues or created new ones? I don't know, or is it just we've been kind of unlucky that people have come in and potentially had problems in the past and it's just kind of been an issue again? But they don't tell us, so we'll probably never know.
Absolutely. And Wolf, finally, I mean, the manager has to get a lot of credit, because let's be honest, there wasn't much options for her to not play the youth. She was, her hand was almost forced, with a lot of the first teamers that weren't available, and it's difficult to, she's under pressure as a new manager to win games. Let's be honest, coming into a new job, the first thing you want to do is just win every game you can. But when a lot of your players are out injured and you're relying on the youth, it takes I wouldn't say it takes a lot of guts, because she was forced into it, but it's not an easy situation for her to coach the team in the right way and get the wins, is it?
No, it's not. But I mean, I think she's probably come in and she's come in. She's probably looked at the fixture list and went, see, up until this international break that we're just coming up to now, we've only really got Glasgow City, and the rest of it should be relatively straightforward. I know that Hearts are getting better, Hibs are getting better, Motherwell are getting better, as we've touched on. But we should still be able to take care of them fairly comfortably with using some of the kids. Because Jo could quite easily come in and went, look at the squad we've got, it's a bit threadbare, there's a lot of injuries, I'm going to sign 8 or 9 players, just bring them in for the sake of bringing them in. She hasn't done that. She's only brought in 5 players. She's brought in one of them in the last day of the window. Right, so really up till now, she's only brought in 4 players, and I say the one right at the death. So it's great that she's shown faith in the kids, but she must have seen something in them, because she wouldn't just throw them in. Because as you say, Brian, it's a lot of pressure on her. It's her job that's on the line if it goes wrong. So I mean, how much she knew about them before she came in, I don't know. I mean, I've got no idea how long before she signed that Rangers started speaking to her. I don't know how much due diligence she did, and she would have done some, because she wouldn't just have went, yeah, it's Rangers, it's my club, I'll take it. She wouldn't just have done that at the first time they asked her. Whether they asked her because they knew Malky was going and, sounded her out before and she had an eye on it, I've got no idea. She obviously, I would imagine she probably spoke to Malky about some of the young players, because he's still about the club. So, and it shows that she has got faith. But she's only just stopped playing. She's only got 2 years stopped playing herself. So she knows, she knows what the modern game's about. She knows what it takes to be a success in the modern game. So all that together, yeah, I mean, fair play to Jo. But let's not give her too many pats in the back. She hasn't done it. She hasn't won anything yet. The proof of the pudding is when she's waving silver shiny things at us. That's what we need.
Absolutely. But Car, just to finalise, decent start from Jo.
Yeah, I would have liked to win the Glasgow City game. I think we had enough in us to go and win that game. But 1-1 at the start of the season against them is just tradition at this point. It just seems to be the way that it goes. But other than that, I'm very happy that we beat Hearts. I'm very happy that we're taking our chances, as Malky used to say, and she's got everybody playing a very nice attacking style of football. I'm very happy with, the back three, and then kind of sometimes Nick as number 6 and then the number 10 and behind with the 2 strikers up top. I think it's nice we've got options now, and she'll make changes when they need to be changed at a reasonable time, and it's not like for like all the time. I'm very impressed at this point. I'm trying not to get too excited and too ahead of myself, but I'm very impressed with her and Jay. I think Jay has a lot of, credit in the bank as well, because she seems to be a lot behind it as well. So very impressed by both of them. I'm glad that the board saw ambition enough to bring somebody up and not just go with, they could have just brought anybody in from the league that's already maybe done a bit of coaching themselves, but it was nice that they went and were ambitious with it.
Yeah, fair, absolutely fair point. So yes, we've got Montrose on Sunday, and then it's the international break. We'll be back next week with the reaction to Montrose. After that, we might just take a little break, or we might dip into the international stuff if there's enough consensus between the 4 of us. We shall see. I know Wolf and myself aren't very internationally sort of football minded, but if Karen, Laura, and everybody else would like that, then we shall endeavour to do it to our best ability. But my thanks to Wolf tonight.
No problem, Brian. It's just to give people a heads up. There may be something live from Montrose on Sunday. I don't know. I haven't discussed that with Carrie yet. But it depends what time we've got. We might do something. So just make sure your notifications are on, folks, because we might do something on Sunday.
And Car, thank you very much.
No, it was good. It was nice. I was kind of tired, and that's perked me up again because I forgot how class some of those goals were from Dundee.
Yeah, there was certainly 2 or 3 goal of the season contenders in that 2 games, so it'll be interesting to see what the goal of the month is. Very plenty to choose from. And also, I might add, Wolf, I might make an appearance at Montrose. I might have the day off. We'll just have to see.
We're going to have a full house.
I was going to speak to you about that offline because you did mention it. So
yes. So anyway, thank you very much, folks. Thanks for joining us, and we shall see you again next week.